action.
Huh?
Nice.
There we go.
A little bit of a Dutch feel to it. Same thing on this side too.
Did you get that? That was important.
All right, Alex. I look bad for sleeping. You have
To throw some of the heat down this way.
God, you need to put a polarizer in here too.
Like this, we got Camel lights, Vicodin, some ibuprofen in the bag. Let's shoot this shit, man.
The thing with the movie The Standard is it's about a lot of things. And it really goes back to my original idea where the whole thing kind of came from. Is when I was a freshman in high school, I came up with this idea to do this film called, at that time I was going to call it American Standard.
Mm-hmm.
And it was going to be, I really wanted to show kind of high school life in a very real way.
Well, I'll let you get back to your paper. I love you.
I love you too.
Fuck you, reeferless motherfuckers, all right? Am I the only one who ever buys a sack?
Eric, quit bitching, man. You know I'm gonna buy a sack from James tomorrow.
James, he's got the good shit.
Are we ready? Let's bring him on down.
Dude, just stop the fucking car and let's out. Just hold on.
Seriously, bro, I gotta fucking take a shit, man.
It's actually been two completely different standard screenplays. One of the first one, Brian and I actually wrote together, and it was way more of that. I mean, it was way more, there was a lot of different characters, and there was a ton of melodrama in it, and it was really cheesy, but I mean, it followed around that original concept a lot more closely, where it was like different kids doing different things, the nerds, the jocks, you know. But it was funny because when I went back and reread it after we got the financing, I realized that it was completely like against my original idea for the film, because there were like the jocks and the nerds and the cool guys or whatever, the druggies. Fuck, I didn't want to make that movie. And so I rewrote it again back in January, and you know, I decided to really stick with a story about this character named Dylan. And he's in love with his girlfriend, Gina. You know, they've been together for 2 years, and they're both about to graduate, you know, in 2 weeks. And Dylan's a smart guy. He's, you know, he's a great writer. His teachers really respect him, and he's a very mature kid. You know, he's kind of an old soul. And his relationship with his girlfriend isn't just like, you know, some high school relationship. I mean, it's kind of a real thing, you know.
I'm just trying to figure things out, okay?
Figure what out? Are you not in love with me anymore? Are you confused about that?
I need to figure out what it is that I'm going to do.
He's kind of stuck with this dilemma of like, what the fuck do I do? You know, my girl's gonna go to Boston, she's gonna go to school out there.
Tell me, what's your plan after graduation?
I'm going to Boston.
You have school out there?
No, my girlfriend's got school out there.
Your girlfriend. Wasn't it the sweetest thing I ever heard?
All of his teachers, everyone's kind of pushing him to go to college, but he doesn't really want to, you know? He's just kind of like he wants to be with his girl, and he's, you know, he's just trying to kind of figure it out.
You know, these decisions that you make right now will drastically affect your future. Do you understand me?
That's what I hear.
So, I mean, that's the soul of the movie. That's the basis behind everything else that goes on in this film.
When I first got to Whitney, I had no idea what to expect. I actually thought that it was going to be in a metropolitan area.
It's way more laid back in some cases, and in other cases you get the feeling that this is a very private, personal place to them.
house or in the school, they'll say the line, you know, "This is a location, not a vacation." But I can't think of any better place to vacation than Whidbey Island, you know.
And I had no idea it was going to be so isolated and so country.
Hey, it's Brian. It's about 2:45 right now on July 2nd, and we are 9 days away from shooting. 9 days.
I guess, you know, I could say casting has really been tough because there's been a lot of last minute casting that's been going on, and it's been hard on me.
So in this next week, we have to finalize our cast, which I'm sure Jordan's probably told you all about.
Okay, well, this is kind of my little visual board, just to kind of, you know, I can look at and really see where the holes are in the cast. And as of right now, most of our leads are cast. I have finally have a Dylan, you know, because I'm up trying to do rewrites, trying to work on the script, and when I don't know who these people are going to be, you know, what they're going to look like, what their personality traits are. As of right now, we don't have a Ryan. There's not a Mr. Jones. Because I've literally had about 4 or 5 weeks to cast this thing, which is not very much time at all. And I have a kick-ass casting director, Linda Phillips-Paulo, who's just this badass out of LA. She's so fucking good. Okay, so we're about to watch some, I think these are reels, unless they're actual standard auditions. Shit, these are auditions. You know, so then you go through those tapes over and over and over again. You find someone you like, you call them up, you see if they're available, and then you gotta play the game, and then, you know, Brian, the producer, you know, then he gets in there and he's trying to negotiate with the actors you want and refine how you want to work. You know, as a director, it's important to really find your way of doing things. You know?
There's a lot of people about to get into town here in a couple of days. Our travel agent is working right now on all of your flights and accommodations.
The first time we thought we had the money, basically it was a scam that Brian and I kind of fell for, and we were ripped off and shit, and it was like, well, fuck, you know, back to square one.
Well, I've known Jordan for a couple of years. He showed up at our house one night and kind of hung out with my daughter for the better part of 2 years. It was actually her doing. She's the one. I knew he was interested in movies, but I didn't know quite how involved he was. And she was the one who said, "Dad, you gotta see what he's doing here."
We had this other company, I won't mention their fucking names, but they're real fucking pieces of shit, let me tell you. These guys are the stupidest fucking Hollywood pricks. I mean, total, oh God, just sleazy bullshit, you know, and they thought they fucking knew everything. These guys hadn't even done anything, nothing that had ever made a penny, and they had all these rich guys' money, basically, and they were trying to, oh, dude, it was terrible. I mean, basically, they were like, yeah, we'll give you $1.5 million, but you have to start shooting within a month, and you have to work within this certain camera package, and you have to shoot in Alabama. Yeah, right? So I'm sitting there just like, no, like, what are you talking about?
I understood his passion and his talent, and last summer, he was filming the standard short version, 0.15 up on Whidbey, and he said, "Come on up." So we went up just one day on the set, and what I saw was a young man in charge of what seemed to me a fairly large crew in the midst of what looked like chaos. You know, he was a calm presence, and it was pretty clear that he was guiding the whole operation. And it was quite impressive to see such a young person in charge and working effectively with such a wide variety of people and just making it happen. I guess that's really what I saw, was that he made it happen.
You know, he'd seen that whole thing, and I talked with him about, you know, possibly investing in the film. him and I basically had a real long talk one night where I kind of fleshed it all out and put it all on the table and was like, well, you know, if you do decide to do this, you know, these are the possibilities, and they're so great and they're so grand. And he agreed to do it, and he really believed in the film, believed in the project, and you know, most importantly, he really believed in me, which was really important for me, you know, as a first-time feature director, to have an investor that believed in me.
Poor man's process. It's what you do when you don't have the money to actually rig a car up to a car rig and tow it around and put lights on the rig and everything. So
where normally you would have cameras mounted on a car. In this instance, we had a night situation where we have a father and son driving at night, having a big heart-to-heart talk. To mount cameras on the car and then to light the background would just be huge, millions of dollars. I mean, seriously, it'd be a lot of money to light trees and everything else, and have to tow a car, and just, you know, and again, it's a low budget movie. We have 5 hours to do it.
You put it stationary, you put people in the hands. Headlights. Headlights coming on.
Space from Gina.
Really what Poor Man's Process is it's mainly for night driving scenes.
So over here we got a couple of twinnies we use as a headlight gag, so the lights come on across the front of the car. And we've got some street lamps that rotate, so it looks like the car is driving under a street lamp all the time.
Yeah, we're all right.
We've got some taillights back here, which is, you know, a nice little rig on the dolly. You drag the taillights so it looks like cars are passing.
Yeah, just, you know, if you do want to talk at some point, I mean, I
don't want to fucking talk about it right now, okay?
You know, you shoot your scene that way. That way you can, you know, if the car is moving, you can kind of have the camera go across the hood and over to the side. I mean, you can do a lot of really fun things with it. And Jeff has a lot of fun with Poor Man's Process because it's a moment where you literally create everything.
My favorite part, I love lighting. I'm a big lighting guy. I just love the lighting things. I don't like to overlight things, but I like to light things that tell stories.
And then, let's see, we had some mag lights that we drove behind the car, so if you see a car come in and pull in behind the car and then take off, that's just the guy holding 2 little flashlights in the background. And then over here, we've got little Christmas lights going through a piece of black foam core, and that looks like city lights, you know, street lights way in the distance.
Look, Dad, I don't really want to talk about it, okay?
And we have people bounce up and down, basically to make it look like it's rocking. We put Christmas lights outside the windows. We light blue moonlight around it. We have grips take small mag lights and put them on pieces of wood, move them in the background while they're draped in black like a monk to make car headlights, everything out of focus in the back. Everything we can pull out of our hat to make it appear that we're actually outside shooting a car. Yeah. And that stuff is such a hoot to do.
I love Poor Man's Process, and I like the way it turned out, you know, the way it looks too. It's a lot of fun.
We're supposed to shoot on our 3rd day of production. At the end of day 2, I was made aware by some people in our art department that the gentleman who manages or facilitates the skate park wanted to talk to me. I didn't really get much more information than that, and I talked to him, and he explained that there had been a horrible deed done, which he was very, very right. That without permission, some people on our crew had tagged the entire park.
The skate park incident just kind of happened as a miscommunication, and I think in a lack of proper judgment by the art department. Like, you know, I don't think that they did that intentionally. You know, I think that maybe they were under a different impression from the state park official. From their story, it doesn't sound like that's the case, but you know, I have to be objective because I know those girls, and I can't imagine they would try and undermine, you know, the production.
Graffiti at the skate park was done without the permission of the park district. We are working toward removing it as quickly as possible, South Whidbey Parks and Recreation District. It basically means we fucked up.
They should keep it here. It's awesome. Because this skate park is pretty plain.
I think it's for a good cause.
Some of it doesn't make sense to me, but I mean, it looks kind of colorful.
We lost the location, and it was at first was, you know, a slightly desperate moment, but I don't think anybody ever lost their cool whatsoever.
I mean, it ended up being almost a blessing in disguise, the way it turned out with what happened over the course of the next night, which I think was a huge bonding experience and really kind of solidified the crew early on.
Hats off to all the actors, all the boys for coming together, and for Jordan coming together with them, and then of course to the entire crew that showed up that night to build this half pipe overnight. You know, it was a success story more than it was a problem, although the only real negative thing that ended up coming out of the incident at the skate park was that, of course, that we lost the location. You know, we had to figure out ways to make do with that. But also, you know, the paper, the Island paper, focused on the event for about 3 weeks.
The newspaper stuff, you know, our publicity, there were a couple editorials and a couple, you know, things that went wrong. We had some bad press, but you know, when it all came down to it, yeah, we did that stuff, you know. Newspapers wrote, they, you know, graffitied the skate park.
But, you know, that's news. No one wanted to hear how great things were going, and that was the other sort of repercussion of the whole incident.
You know, the newspapers wrote, they graffitied the skate park, so, which is true, we graffitied the skate park. The newspapers wrote, you know, such and such and such, which, you know, all was true, so I didn't have any problem with what they wrote. Last time, I mean, you know, I wish they would have written a couple more positive things, but I couldn't find fault with anything they wrote. All true.
The entire crew came out and everybody built this pipe, and it was an amazing half pipe. I mean, it was totally, they just laid it out there and put it together, I think in like, I don't know, they just got it together really fast. And I remember at like 11 o'clock coming down and like checking it out, and people were still working and the lights were going, and it was just like, you know, it's way past 12 hours. It's past a 16-hour day. It's past a 20-hour day, and people were really busting their ass. But it wasn't like they were like, oh my God, I have to do this. They were like, wow, this is really cool. We're really making this happen.
I think they were trying to make me happy. In all reality, we, you know, lost the location because of it. It was a real bad thing. Yeah, man. I mean, fuck. I try not to, like I said, I try not to think of this movie as an issue film. You know, to me, the root of the story is really Dylan and his relationship, and you keep my focus on that.
Here's what happens. You see a completed one. Tape. We put down this Zorbathane rubber. We put down a brass mortar. This is motion picture flat. It's a little bit of powder in there, and what difference makes a motion picture flat compared to other like commercial igniters? There's no metal. It's all soft casing.
Bobby Riggs and Ray Brown working on the film were two good friends of mine, and they're really good effects guys.
That goes on like this. Blood pack goes on, and then Ray, you tape around them, so there's a hole. When it's compressed and everything goes out. What we'll do is you're going to get hit right about here, Ray. Yeah. One in the front, one in the back, 2 separate takes. So what we do is we're going to take a knife and score the shirt a little bit so there's not a lot of resistance there.
Okay.
We spray 77 that right to you. We tap them
glued on the inside of your 77?
It's just spray glue.
Oh, right.
So it sticks right there. We can put some baby powder on so it doesn't chafe. And we'll want to wire down your leg. And I mean, you're gonna feel it. I mean, but you'll react more to the sound than you will to feel.
They came in and they were squibbing up all the shirts and doing all their gun hits, and
because if the blocking works for you, we'll cut off little foam ear blocks and put it in there. That'll help with the noise.
Is it louder than going to a concert?
Probably.
Well, the surprise, I'm being that close to that quick, you know.
I think I'll be all right without the earplug.
But we'll try.
All right.
We're gonna get 2 separate times.
Do you want to feel it or do you want to hear it?
No,
I think
I wanted to hear it.
Probably react better if you did.
Yeah, you're right.
And Taylor is definitely the one in the middle of the two, if you were going to make that cut. Yeah. Oh! Oh! Oh, shit!
Yeah, can we get that ear thing too? It's way louder than a Rage concert for sure, dude. You guys do this often?
First time ever.
Are you serious?
No, we did one last week. No, yeah, this is what we do.
Oh, really? Pyrotechnics?
We do motion picture special effects, yeah.
So now we're here at one of my favorite scenes in the script, if not my favorite scene. It's probably the most personal scene in the script, which is this outlook here, overlook, however the fuck you want to call it. The spot, as we used to always call it.
So why'd you come out here today, bro? What are you talking about? Dude, don't fuck with me, man. Who do you think you're talking to, man? I'm your best friend, dude.
Our sound man, Dave Ruddock, called it a minor miracle that we got our day. We showed up to the Overlook. Our jib operator arrived, great guy, and we got a little more than halfway into our day. Called lunch. We were gonna come back from lunch and shoot a beautiful sweeping jib shot up to the Overlook.
The bluff drops, and it's just like this 2 islands like this, and there's just like the wind coming in. It's totally just this amazing view.
For a few months, someone on the staff had assured us that we were secure with the location.
So we had broken for lunch, we're sitting down eating, and 2 police cars pull up. So I go over to see what the problem is, and I get shooed away. And they're just talking to our producer, and the officer, who was actually quite cool, was telling us that someone had stated that we didn't have any authority to shoot on at the Overlook.
She asked if we had permits, and Brian said yes. He'd actually called the owner of the property, and the property had given him verbal agreement.
So I think to myself, no problem, we'll just take out all the paperwork that shows that we're allowed, and of course we have none of that. So after about a 2-hour delay and a very long lunch, we were informed that we actually did have no right to be there.
We only had permission up to a certain point in the property line, and at that point, from the property line to the actual end of the bluff, belonged to someone else that we didn't know. And we weren't aware that we had to get permission for that extra 40 feet. We thought it was one lot that went all the way back.
We lost the location at the Overlook about halfway through the day. Fortunately, due to the expertise of Jordan and the camera department, and a very, very lovely woman who allowed us to use her property to shoot the second half of the day, we were able to remedy the situation.
So we had to, very quickly as we could, pick up shop and move to another Overlook location. Now the kicker of this was that we pulled a little stunt as we were wrapping out, the officers being at the bottom of the hill and us at the top of the Overlook.
Alright, so what we're gonna do is we just happen to get kicked off this property, so what we're gonna do right now is just shoot it. It's guerrilla. We're getting kicked off, so what we're gonna do is just get one shot in. Just one shot in.
Guerrilla style.
It's gonna be MOS now because we're gonna unload the sound stuff and make the sound stuff take a while, act like we're actually taking a while to get our stuff out of here, clean everything up on the property. But we're actually taking our jib shot right over there.
While we were very slowly wrapping our gear down the hill, we ended up getting 3 shots, 3 jib moves. So we kind of stole 3 shots from the location as we were walking away, and that was credit to Ken Niederbaumer, our key makeup artist. He put that little idea in everyone's head, and we decided to go guerrilla style for that shot because we really just couldn't live without it. We were already set up for it, and we absolutely couldn't live without it.
Yeah, we are. We need to do it now.
Yeah.
Guerrilla. Fellas on your one.
This is beautiful.
Yeah, man. Love this spot.
But it was just another circumstance of figuring out a solution on the fly, and people came together and made it work. And fortunately, there was a woman visiting set that day, of all days that she decided to visit set, and she led us to this new location.
That's right, Chris. Soak it up.
Now, our marks on the ground aren't.
I'm starting to feel exploited now.
How are you feeling today?
I don't have any quarters.
Steve, roll 103, 23,
Gonna. Ladies and gentlemen, our art department.
Yeah, I need a hat.
I'm still looking at it.
I've spent many a nights up here, drinking beer, little love making. A lot of love making. It's been good. Not Bobby and I.
There you go.
The rat, baby!
This is the first time I've really ever felt that I've, I guess, put myself into a film completely.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap on the standard. And that's a picture wrap on Alex Frost.
Being that I've wanted to do this since I was 4 years old, having done it, at least having gotten this far with it.
I'm still kind of taking the whole thing in right now.
To see it actually go from being an idea to a film that is now wrapped, is amazing to me.
This is one of the best crews, director, first and second assistants I've ever worked with in my life.